God's sake, you're such a pain, man.
Okay, yeah, we are recording. That reminds me, there's a great
In every front.
There's a great advert out. I'm quite impressed with this. Am I coming over loud and clear? Because I've played around with my gain and stuff like that. There's an advert out. I don't know if you've seen it, Meredith. A Frenchy boy won't have seen it, and it's for Direct TV. And there's a picture of Rob Lowe lounging on a bed in a suit, looking sort of cool like Rob Lowe does, saying, "I've got Direct TV. It's got 99% up." And then he said, and then it's like, "I'm the creepy Rob Lowe." Have you seen it? Yeah. It's fantastic. Yes. And it's like, I can't remember what the first thing. My cable's gone down, so I'm at the swimming pool. He don't go watching people swimming. He's got a pair of glasses, and he's got this like handlebar moustache and this leather jacket. He's really creepy. And then it goes back to Rob Lowe, and he's watching a movie with friends or whatever. And then it goes back to this other guy, and he's at the cinema, and he's going, "I like the smell of people's hair," and he's behind this woman sniffing the hair. It's a great ad. You've got to see it, and it doesn't work very well on audio with half the words missing, which is just what you got. No, you'll notice, Meredith, he looks very, very confused about this. Can I introduce Meredith? Even though we're not into interviewing people, because that's not what we're here to do. We're here to ridicule them. Oh, I forgot to tell you that.
I've already been
I knew there was something that slipped my mind. So Meredith is...
but you seriously want to introduce her?
Yeah,
seriously?
Yeah, of course. Well, but if anybody's listening, they may want to know who she is. Meredith's a Playboy bunny, and
yeah, that's it.
God. In the seniors crowd,
yeah.
I go to the local senior center.
She's. What am I saying? Yeah, that's not true. Anyway, Meredith is somebody I've known. She's a meditation expert, and she'll probably cringe at me saying expert, because I'm not sure if there is such a thing as an expert in that, because it's constantly... I'm trying to sound intelligent now, and this isn't working, is it? Anyway,
I'm just lost right now.
I know. I look. I'm saying it, and I'm lost. Anyway, she's teaching me how to meditate properly at the moment. So I have kind of hired her with sort of like a barter of services or whatever, because she's awesome. She knows what she's talking about, and she's great.
Not like you.
She's great asking at killer questions that make me think, "Fuck, she's found me out."
Oh, well, that was very nice. Thank you, Tim.
You're very welcome.
So basically, you're very smart. This is what I understand. Yeah.
No, she's smarter. She's smarter than me.
Yeah.
Smarter than me.
Yeah, that's it. Which it's not big of a challenge, to be honest.
No, a rat's smarter than an amoeba, but you still wouldn't want to take one on University Challenge, would you? Not that actually nobody here will know what University Challenge is. That's a quiz program for university students back in the UK, so that was a complete waste of time.
Oh, speaking, I thought of this last night. Do either of you know the show Allo Allo?
Yeah, I actually went to see the live version at the West End in London. That was
I didn't know they had.
That was before I had a sense of humour.
Oh, okay. I loved when I lived in London. I loved that show.
I must admit, when it was on, I liked it. I look back on it now and I cringe. It's so cheesy. And
it is, but it's Olivier. You know it. The French. It's during German occupied
Everybody talks
France.
like this. They talk with ridiculous French accents, you know. And they're English, but they're pretending to be French. And it's just like these stupid accents, a bit like yours, really.
Yeah, the stupid one.
Yeah.
You know, I can play the stupid person if you want to be. You know,
well, what do you mean?
I don't have to force myself to be.
You have been doing that. You don't. There's no can, mate. You've been doing that. So yesterday, last night, I sent out an invitation to this podcast. Do you know who James Altucher is, Meredith?
Of course.
I don't.
Well, how long's your name been, Meredith? That's just your Saturday name, for God's sake. Don't start.
That's your safe word,
I
Olivier.
thought it was for everyone. You know, just said you sent an email to everyone. You know,
Okay.
I know.
Well, and I'm going to read the email to you. James Altucher is a writer, good guy. I like him, like his stuff a lot, and I wanted to get him on this. And he's he's pretty well known, fairly well known. So I thought I'll send out an invite that he can't possibly say no to, and here it is. Hi, James. I run a blog called A Day in Adventure. I've done for about 8 years now. It's a pretty good readership with about 50k page views per month. Not quite at your level, but then again, I can't moon dance because he moon danced on one of his videos. So that's somewhat of an unfair advantage. I'm a somewhat unorthodox life coach in terms of I swear a lot on my blog. I use a lot of humour, and I'm even stupid enough to write posts on politics, religion, and my medical background, which is something he's talked about a lot as well, including GAD, Generalised Anxiety Disorder, gay rights. I've even posted one today called Muslims Go Home and Take Obama With You. Anyway, I've gravitated to your stuff because of your, excuse me, because of your authenticity, self-deprecating approach, full head of hair, something I'm sadly lacking. I've started in a podcast with a French life coach called Olivier, Olivier. Let's call him Olivier instead. Who's living in Dubai. He originally contacted me in a very similar manner to how I'm contacting you now. And in the couple of years since, I have grown to tolerate him and accept that he wasn't personally responsible for the Maginot Line. We'd like to have you on the show, and we're wondering if you'd be up for that. Here's what will be in it for you. Probably fuck all, if I'm being honest. As we've no audience yet, and I haven't even started to sell my readers about it. Here's what will be in it for us. Instant credibility, fame, and adulation. You may think that's a bit of a win-lose, but not necessarily, because I'm sure you'd have fun. I'm lying about it being an interview because we're both too lazy to do any prep. Well, I say lazy. It's more we want to chat and have fun and keep it spontaneous, not to work to a script of crappy formulaic questions that'll bore the arse off anybody who stumbles upon it. I'm quietly confident I've sold it to you, and you're salivating at the prospect of chatting with an idiot Frenchman and with a sexy accent and an opinionated Brit who whines and swears a lot. So when can we book you in for? So, I cannot believe he hasn't responded. What the fuck is wrong with that guy? How could seriously? Fuck! I mean, if that was me, I'd be getting on a plane to Florida.
I've seen the email, and I've said, it's very well put, but I say, shit, man, like there's something missing there.
Something missing.
You.
What do you think's missing? Let's ask Meredith. Meredith, what do you think's missing there? I mean, I think I used all the aspects of, you were tempted onto the program. So what do you think was missing from that?
I don't know that anything was missing so much as maybe you just haven't given him enough time to reply. You just sent it last night, right?
Hang on. Oh. Does Meredith realise we don't allow people on the podcast that have got a modicum of common sense?
Oh, sorry. We're looking for... Okay, then the real answer is he is so absolutely stoked about this email. He went out
too excited to respond
last night.
Yeah.
He got absolutely wasted, and then when he left the pub, he was so excited again, he walked out and got hit by a car.
Oh, that would be a shame.
Remember the coma theory, Tim?
The coma theory? What's the coma theory?
Didn't I tell you that? Because
I can't believe it. I'm stroking my own microphone now. I should never have bought this microphone. Sorry, the coma theory. No, I don't remember that. Tell me about the coma.
Oh, the coma theory. So this stems from when I used to date when I was younger. And if a guy never called me back for a second date, the only possible response could be that he was in a coma. Why else would he not call me back? So if you don't ever get a response, it's because they're in a coma. There's lots of people going into comas every day.
That's very true.
Shit.
This is why we brought somebody on that's sensible and intelligent. She understands people are going into comas.
Yes.
No, suddenly I'm just like processing all this, and I'm said, shit. So we just have a breaking news. James Altucher is in a coma, and we could announce that, to everyone.
You could tweet that right now.
I think I should. I think I should go on Twitter now and tweet it. And I'll tell you what, Meredith. If he is in a coma, I'm going to blame you.
From the law of attraction, I put it out there now.
Yeah, fucking right. And I love the guy. I love him. He's But you've not read his stuff, but he's so brutally honest. I really appreciate that because that's something that I aspire to be. But I think he's even more honest and upfront than I am. And he's a great writer. In fact, he's way better writer than... I don't want the fucker on the programme. He's funnier, he writes better, and he's more honest than me. Why the hell was I asking him on to upstage me?
And more attractive than you.
Sorry, I can't imagine someone more honest than you. I mean, you're pretty brutally honest, Tim. That's a compliment.
I know. I'm trying to think of something witty.
Sorry. Oh, so in fact, you're looking for the slam.
The honest truth is, I can't think of anything witty. But I am wearing my Abercrombie and Fitch T-shirt that I've had for about 10 years now, but just because I want to crush the reputation of Abercrombie and Fitch. In fact, do you remember Meredith's a fan of Greg Giraldo, as I am, and not Olivier isn't because he hasn't got any taste in comedy. He's French. He's French.
I'm shit at that.
Olivier, name the top 5 French comedians. Okay, that's enough. Yeah, so Greg Giraldo does this... Greg Giraldo does this thing where he goes into Abercrombie and Fitch, and at the time he's probably about 40, and it's like so embarrassed because he's like, have you got a size 32? And I can't think what he calls him now. Not a toy boy. What does he call him? And he has to get up on this ladder, and he's got no shirt. This topless boy whore, I think he calls him. He has to get up, and he's like, right at the very top is a 32 because everybody that goes in there. He said, "We walk into Abercrombie and Fitch. You may as well walk through a playground with peanut butter slathered on your cock for the looks that you get."
Yes, they're very, very select or very clear about who they're marketing to, and it's the size 0 under 25.
But they're not, though, when you go in there. They welcome people like me, and I'm 52. It's like, what they should be trained to say is, "What the fuck are you doing in here? Get out."
That's what they're saying on their headphones. They welcome you, and then they go, "Oh my God, this guy's still coming in! Look out!"
Could be true. So,
I'm not sure what's going on. To be honest,
you're not. But you're never sure what's going on. That's
and the funny thing is, I'm in the middle of you. I can see like I'm in the middle, and I have both of you over there, and I'm just like watching this, and I say, "What's?" It must be a conversation with all people.
People listening to this podcast are really going to know what you mean when you say that you're in the middle of us, aren't you?
I'm in the middle.
You're going to look fucking foolish because we're seeing each other on cameras, but nobody else can.
That's okay. It's just a feeling.
I've got a question for Meredith, but I think you should talk now because you're just winging it. You're just. We're carrying you on our backs now, and you're adding no value whatsoever, other than sexy accent, because love it.
Because it's all about the monument that we'll make.
Do you remember Rapido?
So,
do you remember that would have been on when you were in England, Meredith? Actually,
Rapido. That was the Antoine de Caunes again.
Yeah,
you still have the same. The only reference of a French person that you know is only Antoine de Caunes. That's the only one that you get.
Rapido. Yeah. They have this program, and he had a more ridiculous accent. I know you're struggling to understand that, but he had a more ridiculous accent than Olivier. And he did this program. It was on 11 o'clock on a Friday night, and it was like Euro trash. It was all about the most trashy Euro stories about. I seem to remember it was about swingers and things that were happening in music that were a bit loose. It was basically, I'm saying, it was a long time ago actually now when it was on, because I can remember thinking, I've got to get back from the pub to watch this.
So, but it was very good, very well made actually. It was going to be underground culture. One thing that I wanted to say, and coming back to something... serious, I guess. I don't know if it's serious, but we are talking a lot of shit, Meredith, in this podcast. Mm-hmm. And on the last
I get that.
Yeah, it's lots of shit. And actually, the value added of this, I don't know. But on the last podcast, we were having this discussion about positive thinking, right? And we mentioned some references, and I listened back to the podcast, and I think I need to clear up or come with a disclaimer or just make the things right, because the things that we said are not correct. So I would like to say something. The things that we mentioned, And I mentioned this book, if you can see the cover, which is Oliver Bockerman, The Antidote, right? And I mentioned that one of the champions of positive thinking basically end up in bankrupt, right? And Tim said, oh, yes, I know who it is. It's Vincent... Who you said?
Norman Vincent Peale. Actually, that's you can't. Jesus, I'm the old one with dementia here. That's not how the conversation went at all. We started talking about positive thinking, and I said, oh, it reminds me of a book by Norman Vincent Peale about it's like the seminal book on positive thinking. Complete bullshit. And then afterwards, you started talking about. There was this guy one time that went bankrupt. I went on Amazon and said, "Oh fuck, it's Norman Vincent Peale I was just talking about."
Yeah.
So I didn't know. I actually had no knowledge that Norman Vincent Peale went bankrupt. So
actually, no. So it wasn't the guy. So Norman Vincent Peale died in 1993, and the book. That the reference of the book, they're mentioning this guy, Dr. Robert H. Schuller. Right, so that's the right reference. Dr. Robert H. Schuller, who is a self-help guru, and he had apparently 35 books of positive thinking. So I was putting in my head, shit, we need to make a correction and to say...
Sorry about this, Meredith.
Sorry. No, but sorry. Sorry, Norman. Sorry, in your deathbed, sorry, we just you're not bankrupt.
Well, he did... Rich. You were kind of pointing out that it didn't work, right? Because he was all on the positive thinking, and you thought he went bankrupt, but he did die. Probably wasn't thinking about dying, so we might have another argument for the positive thinking not working.
Yeah, because it was only 107. I mean, it obviously doesn't work. Actually, how old was it? Would be interesting, because one of the things, with the old law of attraction crowd, and I wrote a really long blog post on the law of attraction about 3 or 4 years ago now, a really, really long post. And one of the things was Joe Vitale, and Joe Vitale is somebody who I'd love to get on this program. I'm not sure how we'd get him on. I'd love to get him on and ambush him. That's not a very nice thing to say. But I just said...
now that you say it, obviously will come.
I just said, if Joe Vitale is so good at manifesting, why doesn't he manifest a 32-inch waistline and a full head of hair? Being the fact he's got about a 50-inch waistline, he's 4'7", he's a real fat fucker, he's balding, and it's like, dude. But here's the other thing as well, and I don't want to disappear too much down the law of attraction rabbit hole. Yes, I do, really. But here's the thing as well, is like, so you got people like Jack, it's Canfield, but it really should be Confield, shouldn't it? Because Jack Confield and Bob Proctor. We want to get Bob Proctor. We want Bob Proctor on this program. Deepak, of course. Although, I actually put him slightly higher than that because he's fairly intelligent. But
he's a good guy. Come on, we said that. We said we loved Deepak.
Yeah, I think
we love Deepak.
Yeah.
Say it.
I love him. I love him. I want his love children.
Now, rub your microphone again.
So anyway, so I wrote this post on the law of attraction, and what came out of that post was, I've forgotten the whole fucking point to this story because you butt in, you stupid Gallic twat. And now I'm thinking, where was I going with the law of attraction?
The positive thinking stuff. Well, the positive thinking and...
Oh, yeah. So Joe Vitale. Yeah.
But we found your place, actually. You're listening to what he says. This is your place. You're listening. Shit, we have it. You'll put us on track every time.
Okay. I'll just do that. I will just keep you guys back on track.
Yeah, okay. That's so you can be the moderator. So, so it was like, if you do all this stuff, but the point I was coming to, and I've just remembered it, which is fantastic for a 52-year-old to remember stuff so far after the event, it's like, why doesn't just one of these people decide, you know what, I'm going to take this to Chad or Sierra Leone, or I'm going to take it to some impoverished area of the world, and I'm going to teach them, you know what, well, first of all, we need to establish a baseline. It's your fucking fault. You're poor. Okay, don't start blaming the economy or this drought bullshit. You brought the drought upon you. You manifested it. We've got all your water because we're good at manifesting. So why don't they why doesn't anybody say, is there any altruism involved in this industry, or is it all about acquisition of wealth and status? Meredith, you can answer that, because Olivier ain't understood a fucking word I've just said.
Well, I do feel like they... it seems like whatever the goals everyone wants for the law of attraction and positive thinking. You guys are both laughing now. Are you guys chatting?
No, I'm laughing at him. Sorry, I'm not laughing.
Oh.
I'm laughing at him because I basically insulted, and I wanted to do that, but I thought you may think I was doing it to you, so I didn't. I just raised my middle finger there, and I was trying to do it to Olivier, but Meredith has no idea who it's aimed at, obviously.
You know, what I like, just before you go, Meredith, before you're like, I like your leadership, Tim, and you just said, no, go, just like, just
she's my coach. She can tell me what to do.
For God's sake, is it because you're paying her that you just, Meredith, don't take that. Insult him back. You just said, you're talking to a woman, to a lady, so he has to be like considerate and polite.
Oh, that was part of the humor. I'm okay when it's funny. When there's humor involved, it's okay. But I do agree. I think that they look too much for, it's the wealth thing. I want to get the lottery numbers. I want to get the good parking space. I want to get the big house. And that's, that's the object that they want, that they think will bring them happiness. I mean, the reality is, if you want happiness, if you want the lottery, you want the good parking space, you think you want all those things because you think it will make you happy. When all it's going to make you want is more things. More desires are going to lead to more desires. So I don't even think it leads to a fulfilling, even to happiness in the end. I mean, I'm a proponent of positive thinking. I think it's better to think positively than negatively. But in reality, being realistic about things as well. And also being realistic. I do hate, because Abraham Hicks, and I think I did tell you, Tim, I did listen to their CDs like 12 years ago. And their thing is about, getting the parking space, getting the right parking space, getting the big bank account. And I think they're just giving people false hope when they're telling them to kind of wish for these things. So I don't know. That was kind of lame, but that's what I think.
No, it wasn't lame. It wasn't as lame as just drawing down your own arm, which I did by mistake because I went to make but no, it wasn't.
A tattoo?
Sorry? Tattoo.
You went to make a tattoo real quick all of a sudden.
I'm tough now. It's the old midlife crisis. I'm going to have a tattoo.
You post midlife crisis,
my friend. Love and hate
you,
on my knuckles. I'm going to love, Anyway.
Robert Mitchum. Cool.
Oh, yeah. Cape Fear. Was that Cape Fear?
No, not Cape Fear, man. Night of the Hunter. Your reference sucks in cinema, man. Charles Lawton, Night of the Hunter. Anyway, no, I won't. No,
I was thinking the original Cape Fear, not the Robert De Niro one with Robert Mitchum played. I'm with you, but I'm just trying to recover ground now because I'm looking foolish. I just don't know what to say. I just feel humbled and suicide.
I have a topic. Oh, sorry.
Go on.
Oh, we have topics now.
Hang on. Whoa. Meredith, don't apologise for butting in. This is buttinginpodcast.com. It isn't really, but it could be. So you butt in. Go on.
Well, actually, no. Olivier might have had something to say still about the positive thinking, but then I did have something.
No, don't butt in if you don't butt in if you're going to support that.
I'm just butting in for him.
I like you, Meredith, because you're kind of you're a reasonable one, just like very gentle and nice. You listen really to what Tim says, even if it's just like shit, and you just leave time to everyone. You're so nice, really.
Oh, thank you.
You're so nice. What do we have to say with positive? I don't have to say anything about positive thinking because we spent an hour on the last podcast about positive thinking, and to say my opinion is positive, right? But I like also going actually to the negative as well, right? To me, if you need to have a complete picture, and you get things also by looking at the negative as well. So that's my way. But is it, as we said before on the podcast, it may work for some people. It may trigger something, an habit, like I don't know, it can be a placebo effect or something. So if it works for some people, fine. I don't think it will, but if it does something, if there's a value. I'm not dismissing him. So I'm not that fuck like Tim, see? I'm also considerate here. Tim, you look lost and just like a child lost, like here, like...
No, I was just having a short power nap.
Well, even Tim said on the podcast last week, and I did think that was very appropriate, where you talked about, when people are visualizing, a goal that they want to achieve, get a promotion or whatever, but they're not visualizing any obstacles along the way. And I think that's where people get into trouble, that you're just imagining it's going to be a bed of roses because I'm just going to sit here and think I want that promotion or I want that new car. And you're not being realistic about the obstacles. But you can visualize, because I've done guided meditations where I'll have people say, look at the obstacles that you're going to have to overcome. What are they? Because the better you know and you're on the lookout for them, and then you're visualizing almost, well, not so much visualizing, but contemplating almost, seeing yourself overcoming those obstacles. And that's good to do when you're in a rational frame of mind, when you're in a good frame of mind to go, yes, there are going to be problems along the way. And if I can be upfront about that, know it, then it's going to be easier for me to get over those hurdles. So I would say positive thinking with some rationality thrown in. I mean, you want to live in the real world. Nothing ever, works out the way we think it's going to work out. So you got to be prepared for those obstacles.
Given this an example, actually, that's a good point. For you, what happened to you that you say nothing gets out the way that you thought it was? Do you have a personal example that you can share?
A million, but
I'm just trying to get away from team.
Don't do the full million. Seriously.
Yeah, no. I mean, I went to, this was a big one for years. I'd been planning. I went to a monastery last year to become a nun. Shaved all my hair off. It was really long then, and thought this was going to be my path for the rest of my life, and it wasn't. But it actually has turned out to be a really good path because now I'm teaching meditation and doing something that I'm enjoying. So it wasn't that's not a good, that was just, it turns out different than I think it's going to be. But there were obstacles along the way to doing this still. So kind of recognizing that you are maybe trying to get somewhere, you're maybe not going to get there exactly the way you think you're going to get there. So be open to the turns. Like, don't let, this didn't work out. The whole thing's thrown out. Forget it. I'm just going to go back and work at a hedge fund. It's like, no, okay, this didn't work out this way. It never does. And, I've got to regroup and think about how I want to change things to, move forward. And just keep dusting yourself off and moving on.
I think it comes...
Wasn't
what comes to mind when I listen to you, it's very simple concept, but to me, it's it's all about the journey, really. It's where you're always heading into a direction, and you just the end result of a goal is not that important, to be honest. Is what you're discovering, how you're changing, and how you become and developing along the way. See?
Exactly.
I love the way he says develop or developing.
Say it again.
Say develop. Come on, mate.
Development.
Develop, he says. Develop. It's great. It's fantastic. He sounds like some satanic ritual. We're going to develop.
That's the sexiness of all this, my friend.
Is that what it is?
This is it.
Sexy. Well, that's something that I've not been encumbered with sexiness. So I will stick to saying develop.
Oh, come on! Don't be.
Tim, sexiness is there. It's all in the delivery.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what it is? Yeah. It's all in the Abercrombie and Fitch T-shirt for an old guy with a flabby middle. Yes. Oh. So.
But I see those pipes there, or the guns. Tim, got to give the.
Yeah, you need a new webcam. What fucking guns you're talking about? I can see some knots in strings. I'm not so sure about guns. So, just in 3 words, Meredith, 3 words. Explain Buddhism and its importance in modern society.
Three words.
Okay. 3 words max. 2 would be ideal.
Live in reality.
Oh. Shit, you did it. Fuck. I wouldn't have been able to.
He's showing his big guns off now, isn't he? Do you see that? He's,
he's got the guns.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, you know what it was?
I'll just leave Olivier, you two alone
you
to
when
get
I said
room,
that, Tim.
Meredith, now that you said something very important. Anyway.
I'm glad I've got the bigger microphone.
Did you visualize that before you went and bought it?
Ooh, Meredith's breaking down.
You.
But this is why we're recording in 3-track, isn't it? Aye. So sorry, Meredith, say that again because you broke up.
I said, did you visualize it before you went and bought it?
The microphone.
Your microphone.
Oh.
Yes. This will really say a lot about you to see how much time you spent visualizing it.
I'll be honest and say, I didn't. For comedic effect, yes, I visualised it. Would it fit up my ass? But no, the reality of it is I didn't really visualise the microphone. I just thought the one I've got now sucks. And Frenchy boy's always bitching at me that my sound isn't very good. So I just thought, okay, I can do that. Yeah, we both got it. Yeah, we both got the same.
And you didn't tell me, and I get my little one, and I feel like this looks, actually, you have to be honest, this looks like a little vibrator.
Oh my God! You took the words out of my mouth. Did you see? I'm not sure if this was a myth. Did you ever see the Pantene bottle of woman's shampoo?
Oh, the one that looked like a vibrator.
Well, not like one. Fuck me. You just really needed to be able to.
You mean the commercial?
No, there was the bottle, and I'm not sure. I never worked out whether it was a social media. One of those things where somebody's mocked something up, but it was a bottle of Pantene. Didn't look like it. Well, I don't want to get into the world of vibrators and dildos, but now we're there. It was more like a dildo because I don't think batteries. But it was like that. It's just like, what the fuck? Seriously? I mean, was it a serious product or whatever? I don't know. But if it was, I know about 7 or 8 women would have been changing shampoos fairly rapidly. I don't really.
It's good when you can recycle products, right?
Yeah.
I love how we just went from Buddhism to sex toys. It's just like it just happened like this. That's the magic, So where's the sex toys in Buddhism? That's a good question.
You know what I just did there? I put my hands together and I put them under. I have this habit of rubbing my hands together between my knees, and then I saw myself on the video camera after what just talking about. I just thought, holy shit, dude, you look like you're fucking rubbing your dick. So I wasn't, by the way. I can look. Let me stand up so I can show you. Look, I'm not. It's not.
Well, not now, but maybe.
Oh yeah. Anyway, I think we started maybe with 5 listeners and we're down to 1 because the other 4 are writing letters of complaint to either government bodies or maybe us. I don't know.
Yeah, doesn't matter. Living in reality, is it that? Is it this reality? Actually, Meredith, is it? I'm trying to saving here. I'm trying to come with a like.
Yes, bring it back in.
Yeah.
Well, I would say we don't live in reality. The way we live is we're not living in reality. We take, it's an old habit we all have. You can't walk into a room without preconceptions and ideas about what you're expecting to see. To be defensive when someone says something to you. To the attachment that we have for certain things that we think will bring us happiness. And you probably thought your new microphone was, when you order it, you get excited, you get a little happy, you're excited you've got a new product, but it doesn't make you happy for that long. And so, I would say we don't live in reality. We fight how things really exist. And because of that, we cause ourselves a lot of problems. And we're better off really looking at how things do exist. For example, we have computer problems. I had computer problems the last few days. I think most people have a belief that they shouldn't have computer problems. Well, that's ridiculous. You are always going to have computer problems. And if you let them get you upset every time, then you're just causing yourself a lot of suffering. Flights get delayed. We get stuck in traffic. Someone flips you off. That's the reality of the world we live in. But if you want to be happy, see, it's happening right now. But if you want to be happy, you have to understand that this is the way life is. And you have choices in how you have choices at every moment on how you respond to what's happening in the environment or outside of you. And most times we make the choice that's very petty, very selfish, very irrational, and it causes us a lot of unhappiness. So yeah, we're much better off living in reality. It causes a lot less suffering.
So when I hear you, it's basically accepting what is the issues and the problems and saying it's there and just accepting them. This is what you're saying, or?
Understanding them. You can't
them.
accept them until you understand it, until you really look and go, this is the way it is. This, I can't control the weather, I can't control the government, there's so many things I don't have control over, but I do have control over how I respond. And you can't accept it until you see the patterns, until you see how your mind exaggerates everything. I mean, it lies to us all day long. We're lying to ourselves. You want to go to the gym, or you say, I want to go work out. And then, it gets to that time to go to the gym. You're like, I don't really want to go work out. I'd rather sit at home and have a beer and watch TV. I think that will make me feel better. But the gym is what's going to make you feel better than not sitting at home. It exaggerates. If someone says something bad to you, all of a sudden you start exaggerating what a horrible person they are. If something's good, you're going on a vacation or you're going out for a meal, you're exaggerating the goodness of how good it's going to be. And this sets up our expectations unrealistically. So you have to understand it before you can accept it.
I want to ask you a question now. And so, one of the guys that I originally learned meditation through, Bodhipashka, and he's a great guy, and anybody that's listening, I would definitely recommend they go and check out wildmind.org, his website, just like I'd recommend they go and check out Meredith's at ZenSmarts.com. And it's kind of, we had this conversation about we're all one. Okay, we're all like, and Meredith's smiling now, and just this this belief that there is no better. So I think the analogy I can use for anybody that's seen it, I'm guessing you guys have. Have you seen the Jill Bolte Taylor Stroke of Insight talk on TED? It is one of the most powerful talks I've ever seen, in terms of when she was having a stroke herself. Now suddenly she saw no barrier between herself and other things. And then I get into the and I think about, and I read about people like Eckhart Tolle and not having an ego and that ever. But then the natural sort of extension to that for me, and I could be missing the point. I brought it up with Bodhipashka, and I'm not really sure that I got an answer that I'm comfortable with. Is then why would we love one person more than another? Why would we? Yeah. So does that mean to be in that state, you're not truly enlightened?
If you love one person more than another, yeah. You wouldn't be enlightened, because once you're enlightened, you would recognize that everyone's the same. Right? Right? That there is no difference. I mean, when you think about it too, like, if someone's kid gets killed in a car accident. Do you have kids, Olivier? I don't want to bring. Oh, okay, so a family member gets killed in an accident, and you're distraught and you're unhappy, but you're depressed, whatever, sad, all this stuff. Someone else dies. We don't think anything about it, right? 2 people died, right? One, it's part of our family. We're attached to them. We associate. It's part of. So we feel like that's our tribe. So I have emotion when it's part of my tribe. But if it's someone else's, it has nothing to do with me. But the reality is, a person died, right? It's just that I have a relationship with that person, and so it affects me. But if I didn't have that attachment for that person, then I would feel the same amount of compassion for both people that died, because the fact is someone died. But it's our attachment, and that's what clouds everything. It's our attachment to this person. That we think is different than everyone else. We impute that on them. They're more special. This is part of the lies that we're telling ourselves. That person is more special than this person, right? If someone Tim, if you were said, okay, your wife has to be killed, or some other person that you don't know, or 100 other people that you don't know, you'd say, fine, take out the 100 people because I'm attached to Helen. I don't want anything to happen to her.
I don't know. After this argument we had last night, I may be tempted. I'm kidding. But yeah, no, you're right. And it's good that you make the point by exaggerating the point. And that's, one of the things of good comedy, but also driving the point home is to exaggerate the point and say, would I rather... let me bring it down to more, a more sort of understandable level. Would I rather Olivier die or Meredith die than somebody I don't know in Africa? And of course, for Olivier, it's him. I want no, but seriously. No, but yeah, of course. And you're right. It's because I don't know that person. I'm disassociated from them. I don't, but the suffering to them and their well, not them, or maybe them if it's slow, but to their family is just as intense. It's when I see, the whole thing in the Middle East, when you see, it doesn't matter whether it's an Israeli woman or a mother or a Palestinian mother. The emotions are the same, of complete devastation to lose a child under such circumstances. And it's almost like they've got no ability to empathise with one another. Well, that's just a Palestinian, or that's just a Jew, or whatever. And then this can be any. It doesn't have to. I don't need to pick on the Middle East per se. You can be any conflict area. It's just like that person is of lesser worth than another person, and that and that's the thing I'm getting to. So, but the flip side of that is, does that breed? So, let's suppose and we've talked about this a little bit, Meredith, with Eckhart Tolle as being somebody who actually does claim to be enlightened. And there aren't that many people that claim that. I know certainly Body Pashkamai, definitely says no. And he claims to be enlightened. So it's like, and I have no idea what his family structure is, but I'd like to, in a theoretical sense, obviously I wouldn't really as a human being, but I'd like to test that enlightenment with the death of somebody close to him and to see, well, really, you almost should be not ambivalent towards it, but we know that there's according to Blue Oyster Cult from the 60s or 70s, there's 40,000 people dying every day. Now, that's a little bit out of date now, so it's probably more. But there's tens of thousands of people dying every day. So it's kind of like, well, shouldn't you be just as upset or just as not bothered about them? Am I making sense with this? It's kind of like...
I think... Yeah, you're with the ambivalence. It's not that there's ambivalence for the person, like say your mother, okay? And I'll just clarify right now, Tim, because you probably thought that I was enlightened. I'll just let you know now that I'm not, okay?
Oh,
I know.
Oh, shit, okay.
We need to interview this. We need to end this.
Yeah, exactly. Forget that.
We thought we got somebody. She fucking lied to us. She told us she was enlightened. She begged to be on our...
For God's sake, Meredith!
Enlightenment. Olivier, you're next to her on the screen. Can you just fucking poke her in the face for not being enlightened?
Here we go.
No, she's
he
not.
poked you.
Oh, I'm next.
He's up there for me.
Oh, is he?
I feel like it's a Brady Bunch commercial. You guys probably don't know the Brady Bunch. Do you know the Brady Bunch?
I know what it is.
Oh, okay. Anyway, but no, it's not that there's ambivalence towards anyone dying. In fact, there's just compassion for everyone. In fact, and that's the idea when it's this whole, that we're all one. We all suffer the same way. We all want happiness. We all feel anger and jealousy and greed and all those things the same way. And that's what really connects us, is that we do feel the same way. We have different experiences, so the way we look at things differently. But if I were an enlightened being, let's say, and my mother passed, yes, I would be, I would, have a little bit closer connection, I would hope, with her than the rest of the population. But I would have an understanding that this is the way things are. She arises and passes just like I will arise and pass, and just like all these other people. And I have, I miss her because maybe she was in my life a little, more so than the kid in Africa. But the compassion should be the same, because her life is no different than a little kid's life in Africa, just like a little ant's life, just like a little, mosquito's life.
Oh, fucking don't mention
I know,
mosquitoes.
I know you're gonna hate.
She knew she was hitting my hot button then.
I know.
You
Well, we discussed
fucking bitch. Ah. I fucking hate mosquitoes. I'll kill those suckers.
Shit,
I will
man, you're very far to be.
And make a mosquito coat out of mosquito skins and dance around on their graves.
Meredith, we have to say something. He will never be enlightened, this guy. For God's sake, you need to love the mosquitoes. This is what she said, understand their life.
You don't
It's like a little bit of blood. They want a little bit of blood. And it's like, no, we have to wipe them all out. And it's like, that's all we want.
Whoa. Hang about.
No.
They want a little bit of blood and to give you West Nile virus or malaria.
Oh, yeah, I gave you a little bit of, yes, there's a little, I took a tick off my neck this summer, and I did kill it.
What did you rehouse it or something?
And as I did it, but there's the point in that too. Like the reason why you don't want to kill any little being is for your own mind. It's not, we talked about this about karma before, Tim. It's not someone up there going, oh, she killed an ant, one in the negative column for her.
A giant ant shall kill her.
Yes, yeah. It's not anything like that, but it's your mind. It's kind of this. It is your mindset about, is every life just as important? And yes, because if you go to try and kill the ant, it's going to try and get away. It doesn't want to live. It doesn't want to be killed, right? It's not going to sit there and think about it. Obviously it can't, but it doesn't want to be killed. It wants to live as much as I want to live. And it's the point is that we want to have an understanding that we all want the same things, whether it's an ant, a bird, a dog, a human being. We all want to feel safe. Maybe the ant doesn't want to be loved, but, he wants the food and he doesn't want to be stepped on. And so there's, a common ground there. So it's something that shifts in our mind when we start to understand, if I can appreciate that an ant wants to live, and then I can appreciate that this person that just flipped me off on the highway is no different than me also. And they should be able to live. I don't have to run them down, and go through road rage with them. So it's about changing your own mind and recognizing that they're all, everything wants to live. We had real quick, when Christian and I went kite surfing down in Mexico last year, we were in this one place, we had tons of flies. And so I named them all Harold. So that as I was sitting there meditating in the van, I would say, all right, Harold, I've told you not to bug me while I'm meditating. So I've named them all Harold, and it's made me feel a little better. And then Christian comes in with the fly swatter and just does like Harold. A massacre.
So how did you feel about that? How was your reaction?
I felt bad. I did feel bad because there's also a mindset that I shouldn't be inconvenienced. No other being should have a negative influence on me. And that's the mindset we also have to get to. We're all living on this planet. There's 6 billion or 7 billion people living on this planet. Trillions, a trillion other beings. And if I have this mindset that the mosquito shouldn't be there, the fly shouldn't be there, nothing should be disrupting me, that causes in my mind, I'm reaffirming this idea in my mind that I should never be inconvenienced. And that just having that belief causes me a lot of pain and suffering. But if I can acknowledge, because again, I exaggerate how bad I'm not going to use mosquitoes anymore because of West Nile virus, so I'm going to give you that. But the flies, where they're not harming me, they're not, but I'm making it up in my head that they are, right? My crazy roommates in my head are telling me, it's terrible, these flies, they're interrupting your meditation, they're little tiny legs, you can barely feel them. And yet we make it sound as though it is, we're being so put out. And so you have to learn to say, shut up to that stupid, to the stupid roommate that's telling you that. It's not true. They have as much right to live as I do. And I've got to stop getting on this kick that they're inconveniencing me every 5 seconds, or however long.
So from just what you said, it's about understanding and detachment and acceptance, something like that.
Understanding. Yeah, understanding is what kills the attachment. You can't take the attachment out without understanding that it's there, right? We all have attachments to things. You're attached to so many things you don't even know. And the first step is really understanding, what am I so attached to? What's making me, what are these, in fact, what are the playlists in my head of what's causing me so much? And then you look at it and you go, okay, well, what are the thoughts behind it? What's the belief behind it? That's the biggest thing. What's the belief that I have, and is that belief true? And if it's not true, and you investigate and you look at it in meditation, that's when you have an insight and you go, I see it now. I see the pattern that keeps repeating itself again and again, and I don't want to keep repeating it. And it's with that you break the attachment. You have an intellectual understanding, but you don't really believe it.
So basically what you bring, so with your meditation, so if I understand correctly, because actually we never introduced that, you're coaching people, yeah, correct, with meditation. This is what you do. So by the meditation, you'll bring awareness from themselves. So they will look at internally by meditation, and they pick up behaviors and aware of these behaviors, and they say, aha, so a aha moment that will come, and this is where the shift will change or something like that. You'll do something like that, you'll anchor, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I understand what you're doing. Cool.
Okay.
It's the first thing he has understood since we started this series. I want to make one comment, and I like everything you've said, and it all makes. It's very difficult to argue with anything you've said on a logical, reasonable level, because it's like I can remember listening to it. I think it was The Inner Art of Meditation with Jack Cornfield, where he tells a story about him doing a meditation and the fly was on his upper lip, and he got to the point where he could feel each leg, and he just went with it, and he made that the point of the meditation, which was quite cool. I love Jack Cornfield. I do too. Not to be confused with Jack Confield or Canfield, as we were talking about earlier, but Jack Cornfield's great. But it is what, if I was coaching you, and I'm not, but if I was coaching you, I would say, you mentioned something, you said, the stupid roommates in your head. They're actually not stupid. And I think to think that makes it more difficult to get that reconciliation. Those roommates are doing what they think is best to help you. Mm-hmm. And to actually say, well, you're stupid, you're actually saying, well, I'm stupid, and therefore the reconciliation part of the process is much more difficult. Is more like a saying, do you know what? I don't get touchy-feely, but it's the end of the podcast, and we're getting towards the end of the podcast, and we know by now no fuckers listening, so I can say all sorts of things I wouldn't say when people were concerned. But it's like hugging them and just saying, I know you're doing the best for me. It's just, but are there better ways to deliver the same results? When we get into that internal battle, well, that part of me is dumb or stupid or whatever. Well, it really isn't. It's still part of you, just the same as the part that thinks, as the intelligence thoughts or whatever. It's just like combining the different aspects. There's one of my heroes in self-development is a woman called Virginia Satir, who was one of the three people that Bandler and Grinder modelled for NLP, along with Milton Erickson and Fritz Perls. And Satir was one of probably the greatest family therapists of all time. And she died in probably the late 80s, I'm guessing now. And she did a lot of work on parts. And parts is like the different parts to our personalities that we've all got a dark side. We've all got an aggressive side. We've all got a funny side. Republicans maybe not so much. Yeah. Okay. Just kidding. Just kidding. We've all got a frivolous side, and whatever. We've all. Some of them may come to the fore more than others, but to try and suppress one, it's like trying to, when you've got a balloon where it pops out. Do you know what I mean? Where there's a little thing where you try and push it back in, it just pops out somewhere else. And to try and subjugate parts of our personality, whereas we're better just saying, okay, that's part of me, and maybe we can approach that in a different way. But I understand that there's a positive intent behind that behaviour. Does that make sense? And I'm not, Meredith, please, I'm sure you know me well enough now. It's not a criticism of what you said. It's more an observation.
No, and normally I use the word crazy roommates, actually, too. I wouldn't say stupid roommates, but they're crazy roommates. But they are irrational. And I'm not ever talking about suppressing emotions. Suppressing emotions, you're absolutely right. It's just going to come out the other side. It's about looking at what's really going on and getting into reality. And the roommates are crazy. The inmates, if you want to even call them. because they are the one that's saying, this shouldn't happen to me. That person shouldn't, look at me that way. You should have that person's life. She's prettier. She's got more money. She's thinner. Those things, when they're saying things like that, these voices that are, that are carrying on in your head, they take on an irrational tone to begin with. And it's kind of just a habit. Most of it's a habit that we just get into, comparing ourselves to others or thinking we shouldn't be inconvenienced. But what it does is, and you know this, Tim, when you get more into a negative state of mind, you're working out of your amygdala instead of your prefrontal cortex. So your prefrontal cortex, rational, logical, complex, problem-solving, compassion, reasoning, right, all of this part. And if the amygdala is working, so whenever we're in the negative states of mind, the amygdala takes over the prefrontal cortex. We're no longer rational. We're no longer seeing things clearly. Whenever you get into a negative state of mind, at the core of that negative state of mind, whether it's jealousy, greed, frustration, irritation, anxiety, stress, whatever, the core of it is you feel like a victim, you're fearful, you feel threatened. And we create these scenarios in our head. So they, I would say, do take you off into more of an unrealistic place where you do feel so threatened and so stressed, so upset. All it takes is someone to say one thing to you slightly the wrong way. Your spouse, you get home at the end of the day after you've been, playing this shit in your head all day. They say one thing and you take it the wrong way and you snap at them and you lay into them because you feel threatened. You've been looking for someone to, lay into all day, to vent, because you feel so threatened and fearful like a victim. And unless there is a real tiger in front of you threatening you, then it's probably a paper tiger, and you've just made it all up in your head. So that being the difference between if someone has passed away and you're very sad, or you just had a breakup in a relationship and you're very sad, you've lost your job. Those are real tigers. You don't suppress those emotions. There are things that you need to deal with, but you don't let it go to despair. Yeah, we have to be careful there too, that you don't let it go to the end where, you go through a breakup and, automatically people go to, I'll be alone the rest of my life. It's never going to work out for me. I'm so miserable. I'm so horrible. No, you just went through a breakup, and hundreds of thousands of people break up every single day. It's you don't have to go to despair, feel sad for the end of the relationship, the dream that you had for that relationship. That's okay, and care for yourself then. But don't beat yourself up. Don't make it down to this, take it to this place where, oh my God, my whole survival is at stake. And that's the problem with those negative states of mind. That's where they take you. So I'm going to push back a little bit on you, Tim, on that to say, I'm not saying suppressing thoughts.
Olivier's probably dying to come in here, but I'm not going to allow him to, because my mouth is closer to my mic than his is to his. It is where I'm going to definitely take issue. For the most part, I agree with what you're saying entirely. But I still don't like the crazy roommates, because that immediately creates a dissonance. It's just like to tell part of ourselves that we're being crazy. For most people, that's going to perpetuate the problem. Now, it may be different when somebody takes on board and they want to be, to move towards meditation and to take, I don't want to be too pompous about it, but a higher view of things. But I don't think it's useful for us to think that our thoughts are crazy. I think it's useful to think that our thoughts may be misguided and maybe we could help them along a bit better. But when we say they're crazy, we create this internal resistance, like that part of me is crazy, this part of me has got it nailed down. Whereas I'd rather say, okay, I get where you're coming from with that. How can we combine the two to move forward? Do you know what I mean? So, because for the most part, I agree entirely with what you're saying. I mean, throughout this podcast, unlike Olivier, you've made loads of sense. I love trying to dig it. I love him, really.
I know, and you were just trying to include him in. by saying that.
I don't think
he's
so.
my crazy roommate on a different continent. No, he is fucking crazy, you know.
I'm really.
I am crazy.
But where are we going with this? With very serious.
I don't know.
But anyway,
but I do think because we've run over time by about 6 hours, so it is what I think, Olivier, and let me know what you think, and then we may even ask Meredith what she thinks. I've really enjoyed this. I think it's been it's far and away the best podcast we've done. I hope nobody's listening to this as their first one and thinks it's shit because they're never going to go back and listen to the others then. It's like, this is the best one. I thought this was the one where they really fucked it up, and it was just like, well, I was just unlucky enough to download this one. I think I think Meredith's added a ton of value. I would love to have her back on again and delve a little bit deeper into this if she's crazy enough to. The voice inside her head says okay. But I'd like Olivier's take and then Meredith's take, maybe.
I like your directive tone. You know, you direct everyone here. I like this.
Yeah,
just like a general.
I am the decider. Yes.
Are you sure?
I am the decider. I am George Bush.
You what?
No, that's what Bush said, wasn't it? I am the decider. Is that right, Meredith? I'm going.
Absolutely. He's the decider.
I am the decider.
I think it's very to me it's what are my feelings here? There's a lot of input and values and there's a lot of information.
Hang on, I've just had an email. Should I just check if it's from James L. Tusher?
You know, every time I'm trying to talk, you know, I need to say 2 words, maybe, you know? Fuck! Anyway, so I think there's lots of very valuable information here.
Fuck, and it's I like not from James. I'm crushed. And
he's still in the coma. It takes, I think,
maybe he'll
days.
come back. You know, I have to say something, Tim, just to make you feel better because you know I care about you.
I'm going to send him a copy of this podcast, by the way. I know he'll not listen to it because he's got probably like shit to do, you know, that's like important and stuff. I'm still going to send one.
But I like the tone of your email. I liked it. I said, it's very nice written email. Baby.
Yeah.
And I love James Altucher. I've read his book. Now I was blind. Now I see the light or something.
Yeah.
Like that. His title.
He's a good
very
guy.
good.
He's a good guy.
He's very good. So no, it's. I think we just caressed the topic here of meditation. I'm not sure even though if we. You want to be on this one?
No, I don't want to kiss your microphone. It's great having a podcast even because you can do all sorts of things off camera that people have no idea what you're doing.
But I thought you wanted to have a video as well. I hope you're recording this one. Are you or not? The video.
Holy fuck! I hope not. No, I'm not.
Oh, we lost the sound.
Tim, we can't hear you.
Your microphone, check your microphone.
I think he licked it too much.
Hey, whoa. There's Meredith, trust me, there's no such thing.
There's something's going on between you two guys. There's a tension. There's a tension.
Absolutely. I call it the mute button. There's a fucking great red button. Look. Is it red? You can't see that, is it?
Yeah.
No, you can. There's a red button that kind of flashes, and then if you just catch it, it stops.
So I was saying something interesting. No, I wasn't.
No, you weren't.
Interesting. No, I know.
What is this? Like Party Light in 1999? You were saying something interesting. Yeah. You were saying something interesting while I combed my thick, lustrous head of hair. Yes, exactly.
You were, Olivier. You were talking about how
you're really a pain in the balls, really. You know, really that, really.
Do you know what? I'm fucking starving. I have nothing to eat. I said, let's have some
So Meredith, where the old guy is rambling and everything. So what do you think about this experience here? So did you think that you had the time to express all your ideas and say what you had to say? Or there's more stuff that you would like to say?
Oh, I thought this was good. It was fun, very enjoyable, and if there was anything useful in there, of course, I'm very happy about that. But no, a lot of fun doing this. I enjoyed it very much.
So if there is one listener, and I believe there is only one, which is my mom, and
no, I listened to it again. So there's two. Because I'm a raving narcissist.
You're already a client, because I'm trying to pitch her, to put a plug here and to say.
Well,
if somebody
let me just say this.
Can
I just say this? Yeah. So now that the website's up, I don't know why I'm clutching.
You're still rubbing it. You're just like you like it. You like it, you dirty thing.
We've lost you again,
put
Tim.
it on the mute thing.
Microphone tendencies before I bought this thing. But what I'm thinking is I'm going to send this out to my newsletter list. Obviously, about...
You're muted again.
Tim, your mute button.
Oh, yeah. So about 4,000 of them...
That's twice at least. Don't send it, because they'll see you're retarded here, with you pushing your stuff.
Don't say... It's, in the words of Greg Giraldo, it's half a tard. Don't go full way and say a retard. My son's half a tard. Yeah, Daddy, why do those bad men hate us? I don't know. Daddy, why do they get... I don't know. Look, you're 18. You need to read up on this shit on your own or something like that. I can't remember the exact words. What a failure of the public health system. No, public education system. No, I'm mixing two sketches now. I think we should just do an entire podcast on Jim Jeffries and Greg Giraldo. And me and Meredith can lead it, and you can just listen and laugh.
And Doug Stanhope and George Carlin and Bill Hicks as well.
George Carlin. I can't believe that I'd never heard of George Carlin until I moved to the US. Really? It was like 8 years ago. Yeah, he's just unheard of in the UK.
Oh, he's great. I love George.
He's fantastic. I was so sad when he died. But on the flip side, people like Bill Hicks. Bill Hicks was way bigger in England than he ever was in the UK. Have you listened to much of his stuff, Bill Hicks?
I don't know who he is.
There you go. Yeah, he's dead now. He died of pancreatic cancer. He's amazing. He's like
best.
He laid the groundwork for people like Jeffries and Giraldo.
I'm putting him right now on my Pandora then.
Some of it is brutal, Meredith.
I'm good with brutal.
It is. Wait till he does a sketch about the Oliver King. Not Oliver King. Who was the black dude kicked to shit by the cops? Rodney King.
Rodney King. Yes.
He does this great
Bill
stuff
Hicks.
because one of the officers that was on trial was called Officer Coon. And he does this whole thing about Officer Coon. And it's just like, and basically the punchline to it was the question the guy said they were kicking, they played this film of them kicking the shit out of King. And the copper stammered and whatever. And he basically said, but if you wind that tape backwards, you can see us helping him up off the floor and waving him goodbye. And he's like, Officer Coon, it should have been Officer Balls of Steel. Anyway, got to go and listen to it. And he does a great thing on British violence. It's like, the Vandals are coming to get me. Because he was so big in England. The Vandals. It's like, go and meet the Crips. Let's see who's left standing. Anyway, I think we should end this because it's gone on.
Yeah, you're still doing your stuff.
For me, because I've loved it. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Meredith, from my point of view, thanks a lot. You've been great sport, great fun. I knew you would be. That's why I wanted you on it, and I would definitely want you on it again. I think you should. I think you also should actually. We should dump Olivier, and you should be the co-host. Yeah. Or maybe dump me and be the co-host. I think we should have it on a regular basis.
I think you should do just one podcast by yourself as well, because you're the best of both of us. That's it. Yeah.
I didn't. Did you get a word of that? I was some.
I didn't catch that.
No,
I didn't
it
catch
was
that.
fucking some sort of
You don't
Gaelic
need it.
gibberish.
Anyway, I think it's okay. It's
Okay.
fine. We'll be all right.
Well,
Do we say goodbye? We say goodbye.
yeah. Let group hug. Thank you very much, Meredith. Thank you, Olivier. Thank you. I know I ripped the piss out of you, but you're pretty amazing too, dude. I love you. I love you.
No, I
in
don't
a
think so.
In a manly kind of
is
way
it
that I would
love?
deny if you were in my personal space, but you know what I'm saying.
I was going to say, if you
Yeah,
were a
I've got-
mosquito, Olivier, though, he'd just swat you down.
I think he's become
Fucking West
enlightened
Val
right
Iris
now.
carrying
Look at that. There's
bastard.
some love.
Anyway, I've no idea what you're talking about now, and because I have the power of GoToMeeting, I can close this meeting down now. So thank
Close
you.
these meetings and guys, send me the file. You're in the video.
Au revoir.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. You
revoir.
must...
Au
And Tim,
revoir.
are we going
Au
to stay a
revoir.
little bit longer?
Oh, what pretentious moi.
But Tim, you and I are going to stay for a few minutes after, right? To talk about Olivier?
Oh yes,
Yeah, please do.
Yes, we are. I'll tell you what.
I know you're starving, though. Do you want to go get something in the
Yeah, can you give me like? I do need to eat, but I've got something
Yeah.
done, just ready to eat. So, actually, we should stop. Let me stop recording this.
Oh, well, you can cut this
and
out.
then I
right?
will send you a GoToMeeting invite. Just give me like about 10 minutes.
Okay, perfect.
All right.
All right, thanks so
Cheers,
much.
cheers,
Thank
mate.
you.
Have a good
Bye-bye.
weekend. Bye now.
Okay,
Bye.
bye-bye.